The old economy was characterized by increasing debt by both consumers and the U.S. economy. This resulted in a bubble economy, inflated by debt. In previous recessions, the pent-up demand for goods and services helped pull us out of the recession. But with so much debt in the economy, it is unlikely that consumer demand will grow anytime in the near future. The next graph is entitled S-curve. The economic S-curve measures the household saturation of a product, technology, or service in relationship to time. The early part of the S-curve is innovation. This is when the technology or service is being developed. Afterwards, we have the growth period of the S-curve, when a product or service becomes saturated through the business and households. Then we have the maturity section of the S-curve, when the product or service is well saturated throughout the economy. This is when the growth rate levels off. In today's economy, much of the goods and services we receive are in the maturity level of the S-curve. These include automobiles, computers, cell phones, and so on. Much of the manufacturing in these industries has been outsourced. This process has reduced many of our middle-class workers and consumers. Some upcoming industries are the green industry and the biotech industry, but these industries seem to be in the innovation stages of the S-curve. As a result, in the near term, I see few growth industries. It will also take time before consumers are in a financial position to purchase any goods outside of basic needs. By referring to the next graph entitled Annual Inflation Rate, you can see that since mid-2008, inflation has dropped off the chart. Recently, we are experiencing deflation, where current prices are less than last year's prices. The government has been spending trillions of dollars trying to stimulate the economy and loosening the tight credit market. Many believe these trillions of dollars will lead to inflation. This would be true in a typical U.S. economy, but this is not a typical economy. We have just experienced the greatest devaluation of American assets in history. The S&P 500 has lost about $7.5 trillion in value. Housing and commodity values have also lost trillions of dollars. The Federal Reserve's priority is the control of inflation, but after watching the Fed effectively print trillions of dollars, we can deduct that the greater risk to the economy is unemployment and economic recession. Therefore, I do not foresee the risk of inflation in the near future. In fact, I believe that the Fed is more concerned with the possibility of ongoing deflation. Also, the tremendous amount of debt the government is incurring will result in higher interest payments and an increase in taxes after the economy recovers. This will further reduce the amount of disposable income available for consumption. As a result, we will see lower economic growth. In the last 25 to 30 years, the baby boom generation has dramatically affected the U.S. economy. As mentioned, household spending increases until the age of 50. After 50, kids begin to leave the nest and households begin to downsize. Most of the baby boomers are now on the downside of 50. This results in declining spending patterns. The following generation is smaller. The aging of the population should result in declining consumer spending. This has been seen in Japan's population, which is older than the U.S. population. Also, many European countries have an aging population. The next graph is the spending wave graph. This shows the Dow Jones average adjusted for inflation in comparison to the peak spending age of the baby boomers. You can see the correlation of the stock market with spending patterns. If this pattern persists, you can see that we will have a weak stock market over the next decade. In today's economy, with high unemployment and high household debt, equity appreciation, that's stocks, real estate, and commodities, will be limited. The strong investment returns should be due to cash flow and compounding interest and dividends. In today's economy, investors must look at basic needs: food, clothing, and housing. I believe the greatest investment opportunity lies in housing. U.S. housing prices have declined by about 25 to 60% depending upon location. By referring to the next map and graph, you will see the drop of housing prices in the greater Silicon Valley region. Foreclosure rates, housing prices, hardest hit areas. A few years ago, it did not make sense to purchase houses for rentals. This time I was concentrating on buying and trading fourplexes. Of the western United States, the San Jose area has the highest apartment rental rates. With the current rental rates and lower housing prices, rental housing now makes sense again. My intention is to pool investment funds in order to purchase rental houses in the greater Silicon Valley region. We will be using little to no financing with each purchase. This will maximize our cash flow from the rental income. I believe both investment partnerships fit well in the new economy. PFG Moderate Income Growth Partnership 1 will be used to pool funds in order to purchase houses. Cash purchases should give us an advantage in negotiations. It will also allow for rental income cash flow and future appreciation. The all-cash investment will minimize risk until the market rebounds. PFG Conservative Income Partnership 1 has a portfolio weighted heavily in seasoned secondary financing. These notes are secured by multi-unit residential rental property. The high rents in the Silicon Valley region help to assure the payment of these loans. The investment fits well in retirement accounts since the dividends are fully taxable. Please refer to the last graph entitled PFG Conservative Income Partnership 1 LP. The graph shows that a $10,000 investment made in December of 1990 with reinvested dividends would be worth $46,268 in December of 2008. This is equivalent to an 8.883% annual compounded yield. Please remember, it is times like these when opportunities abound. It is also times like these when we need to take action in order to meet our financial objectives and to meet the objectives of our families. Thanks for listening. My extended family. On the left we have Sunny, then Duchess, then we have Charlie, and on the far right we have the new addition, Mitzi.